I'm in respect to the fact that my audience, there's like my core audience who knows exactly what you mean, but then there's going to be audiences that see this on the B sides that are going to wonder what you're talking about in terms of trans misogyny and misogynoir. Can you kind of give a brief like explanation as to what you mean when you say that?
So trans misogyny is pretty much misogyny that's directed to trans women. Now, misogynoir, specifically for Black women, so trans misogynoir, so specifically misogyny towards Black trans women. And that's a very particular type of plight that isn't talked about in the larger trans community. It almost feels like, to me, because I've been transitioning since high school, so I'm 24, so since my sophomore year, and I was already in touch with things before my sophomore year when I came out. So I've gotten to see how the trans misogynoir that Black trans women have been experiencing has never slowed down. I feel like it was, for the longest, it always has been Black trans women amplifying those discourses and forced to have that discourse. And I feel like there's a lot of white peers that never really gave it the time or day or really looked at the severity. I feel like there's a lot of people that know of our statistics, but it stops at knowing our statistics, and they don't take action. They don't have no interest in actually like uplifting orgs that target those types of like issues that Black trans women specifically deal with, that put us in harm's way more at a higher statistic. So the emphasis on trans misogynoir, I really wanted to put end to really get folks to learn about it, because there's just a lot of just this kind of all lives matter approach to trans issues, when there's a lot of nuances, and in a way, like, you can't be a class reductionist to trans or queer issues.
And it really reflects white feminism as a whole, and how white feminism has done the same thing to Black women historically, outside of the trans experience. It's, we're all women. It is what white feminism does to trans women, so, which is ironic in a way, because it's like, it really shows how difficult these discourses and these issues are when people struggle to like empathize with other people's plights and step outside themselves and say, okay, like, we're all women, so that should cover everything. And like, here are white trans women saying, no, you're missing us. And then y'all are next to them being like, yeah, and y'all are missing us. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, and then like cis Black men and women are missing y'all at the same time. And so it becomes this miasma of struggling to like get things across, make people understand. One thing, and one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on, and I hope this doesn't come off as like tokenizing your experience, but like I am as prominent as any cishet Black man has been in defending trans issues at all, and I haven't done a ton. I've just been like, hey, transphobia bad, right? But that has put me into crosshairs for every other normie space to want to speak for trans women. And I've been at my own detriment at times, been like, nah, I'm not doing that. Like, there's people in my community I can put you in touch with. There's voices that can be amplified, that can speak for themselves. And further, like, why do y'all want to talk about this so much? Like, why don't you talk to them? Which is what I did. Like, because I always be very clear, I am still processing and unpacking all aspects of misogynoir and toxic masculinity, whatever code word you want to do. And that was helped by being entering community with trans people and like hearing it from them directly and engaging directly with people, so that it doesn't become this filtered version of these issues through the mouths of people that haven't experienced it. And so it is frustrating that you're still at did you hit 2,000 subscribers yet?
I did. Thank you to you and Chirp.
That's what's up. Yeah. So like that's dope that you're getting there. And like, I just hope that continues to reverberate. Now there's a pressure that comes with it that I talked about in the drama video, but still. So getting back into the specifics of trans misogynoir and trans misogyny, excuse me, like what are some things that, so you mentioned statistics. These are statistics I've mentioned before, but are you okay with kind of like detailing this out for people to understand?
I can give like a general summary. I can't give like exact
the
perfect percentage, but I would say about, I think it's leaning towards 80%, about 80% of the trans hate crimes are done to specifically Black trans women, especially the murder rate as well. So that's why we're very shocked that it's not such a big discourse, because you can't talk about, you know, Black trans murder without looking at that racial divide, and it's been going on for so long, and it's why it's like, oh, how do you ignore this number, but then you want to use the fight to benefit, or Black trans deaths to benefit your own movement, your own pockets, etc., your own white orgs that doesn't have any kind of specific like nuance or intersectional, like that's what we're all asking for, is this intersectionality,
right?
But even going back to trans misogynoir, because as you saw in my video, I got really candid about the Black community as a trans woman, a Black trans woman, and you know, we've all heard, like I said, I say turf adjacent rhetoric, you know, the athlete rhetoric, you know, we've heard that all within, you know, the Black community, from both cis men and cis Black women. And you know what, you know, essentially makes, you know, you a woman comes down to your curves or giving birth or chromosomes, you know, like I said, athlete adjacent rhetoric, to justify violence and harm to us. And you know, if I ever get monetized, that video is not getting monetized because of the clip, if I include it with Iana Dior. I believe it's Iana Dior. Yeah, Iana Dior. Who she's the one that was attacked by that mob.
Oh yeah, the mob of people. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was like within the week of George Floyd. Within a week, and the fact that there was nothing like on a national scale or even within our own community of just like having a reflection of like, hey, this is not okay. Why are we doing? How can we be protesting for George Floyd in the same breath not care about this young trans woman being dogpiled for a car accident?
Right.
I'm sorry, I'll let you go.
And that's the frustrating thing that I've encountered for a long time, and it really speaks to how deeply rooted that is in like our social norms, that people who are you know deviant deserve whatever they get, and that is a genuine response. Like, you know, so I'm in community with Black people, predominantly cis Black people, right, cis het Black people who have never talked to a trans person, never knowingly talked to a trans person, you know, don't know these statistics, don't know this information, and just like it's a deeply rooted like belief that the issues that trans people face are their own fault for being different. And so like I've had to explain to like men who I would otherwise describe as like moral, you know, ethical men, like, yo, why is it okay that this violence is happening to this group of people? And they never have good answers, you know, and it really is frustrating, and it makes you very myopic, because you have to engage with just how far people are from like accepting the humanity of trans Black people, especially, you know, because Black people are denied humanity in general, and that I think that creates a callousness that once you go into these more marginalized spaces, people just can't muster a level of empathy that is even just logical, let alone like, you know, we want to read all the books, we want to say all the right things, we want to support the initiatives, like that's obviously the end goal, but we're talking about just genuine, hey, this is a person being harmed in a way that is unacceptable. Do you see that? And people are like, well, you know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, and it's just frustrating. I'm sorry.
I do feel like there's another aspect of feeling like you have something above someone. So, because let's, for example, like you would expect cis Black women to be allies with us because of the plight they go through, but because they have punani, or whatever, they feel like they have that above us, and they can hang that above us and feel like, well, you're not this, I'm normal, whatnot. Like I have a sister that my youngest sister, she said, well, at least I'm normal. And I'm like, girl.
First off, none of us are normal, but especially like from what I get what you're saying. Yeah. That's, and I have a variety of viewers, more variety than I like internalize a lot of times, because I'll go on my comments and I'll see stuff and I'm like, what am I doing that you're watching me? You know what I'm saying? Like, and one of the more surprising elements that I'll consistently encounter, it's not surprising, but I have to remind myself, is when I do get Black women who are obviously transphobic in my comments, whenever I say like the closest thing to a nice thing about about trans people in general, I will get these turf adjacent talking points about, yes, that's nice, but also, the real women, yada 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 yada. And like I've stopped responding. I posted a coming out of the whole Wizarding game discourse, I posted a video from Cat Black, and like, out of nowhere, this woman's talking about, well, trans women say fish to describe vaginas. And I'm just like, I've never heard that. I'm not that deep in community. I don't know what to say to you. But that seems like an odd thing to talk about right now, right? Like that seems like some.
Comparing apples to oranges, like we're talking about one thing, and all of a sudden you bring in an orange to an apple conversation.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing that I'm still wrapping my head around about how persistent. This is something me and Bellamy talked about, because I'm getting real close to Bellamy's shit list between the drama video and my lukewarm appreciation for a certain streamer who I won't mention because I don't want to get cursed out. But she was explaining, though, that one of the reasons why she gives grace is because she recognizes that all of us are forced into these conflicts because the system has only so much the system has only so much for all of us to like fight and scrap over, right? The system is forcing us into these positions where we have to be in conflict with each other for our own humanity. And what that creates over time is a callousness to the plight of other people. So like we have Black folks, queer folks, Jewish people, immigrants, like all these different groups on the left, all fighting for liberation, fighting the exact same enemy, but in the process of that, we are consistently trying to like take over, but consistently stepping on each other's toes in that process, and trying to center our plight, in the situation. And then when you have, folks who are marginalized intersectionally through multiple identities that have to fight on several front lines, that sounds incredibly tiring. It sounds like something that would be incredibly frustrating. Yeah, it just it leaves me kind of speechless like almost every time I encounter it,
Yeah, you said it perfectly about us having like several fights at the same time. We're constantly battling, and it's this I feel like, especially when it comes to Black trans women, we're not allowed to be weak. We have to we still have that strong Black woman mentality put onto us that we can take this, we are endurance and this and that. And because also I feel like the reason why there's a lot of discourse is because there is a lot of folks that do feel like we can't let non-Black people, non-Black trans folks to control our discourse, control our narrative, because it's harmful if we let folks just run with things that are anti-Black, or even when it comes down to the say your name hashtag, like having to go in and correct that because of the damage it can do, whether these people are good intention or not, these white people are good intention or not. It's a fact that we're put in the position because we're already going through enough as is. We can't bear any more potential discrimination than we're already holding on, like dealing with as is. And I would say also to like folks, radical self-healing is very important, because you can go get to the battle, whatever battlefield you want. Mine was protesting locally, which I'm transitioning out of because I just want to stay safe. I'm in a mostly white space. I've always had issues at every protest. I've always had to have my volunteers learn how to defuse things really fast. I've had to check people in the most nicest way with the bullhorn. They're like, hey, we have structure here. If you want to talk, you could sign up. But even though I'm not gonna let them speak, I'm just gotta be formal. But you gotta give them options. You gotta give them the illusion of options. But I've been doing that work. So I would say, coming from that space and being in a space where like Black people don't really exist, really, probably like 5 of us.
Right.
So already barely. I think Black people only make like 1.5% here, including white folks, and it includes me. So it's very much, it was a lot. So yeah, I'm really
taking on a ton. Yeah,
taking on a ton, and then also just feel like with me, like my experience was people are expecting me to like I represent queer folks. So I'm like, I'm talking about Black trans plight. I'm talking about plight that regards to my community that I feel y'all need to hear and y'all aren't. So because this discourse that I've had in my videos, I've been talking about this since 2021. So it's kind of like transitioning finally. Like I feel like I'd have a bigger reach by making video essays. I can reach so much more people than the 150 people that come to my protests.
Right.
So yeah, definitely radical self-healing and just using your best tools that for you, because you can't fight forever, every day.
Yeah, that was something I've been trying to like manifest for myself in 2023. The drama video was kind of like a purging. Like I conceptualizing myself as like an end to a phase on my channel. Not so much the end to me like doing BreadTube adjacent content, because I will, even though like aside from my next video, like I'm getting real niggerish for the rest of for like the foreseeable future, and I love it. But but like when I got on and I said, okay, I want to help reshape this space, I really did give myself so little grace in terms of like, when do I rest? When do I stop? When do I say I'm not available? When do I say I can't help you? When do I say this person's gonna have to just not get a response? When do I say I'm gonna let that one slide? They just talking crazy. Like all these, that happened a little bit, but not nearly enough. And so coming in, it was like, all right, first I want to get a few things off my chest. And then I want to like allow myself to be less of this ambassador of a Black leftist thought, because I'm a baby leftist myself, right? And just kind of do the things I really want to do the most, because we only have one life. We only have so much bandwidth. You only have so much energy, and you aren't being as useful as you think to revolutionary, movements if you are trying to like martyr yourself without the martyr aftermath. You know what I mean? Like if one of us, like had I like died the night that I had my little incident talking to Lua in the video, like people, it wouldn't have been hard for any of y'all to ever have found out. My boys don't know how to work YouTube. You know what I'm saying? That is just like, why ain't FD posted in a while? You know what I'm saying? And that's with micro celebrity. So it really is just wanting to be balanced and wanting to care about the issues and politics that we care about, but also like have joy and levity and softness and whatever in your life.